quickly what the groups have been working on. You've seen these throughout the time, but now you're going to put it together and know what all of these projects are about. We read a few stories about what defines home. They read about what affects our identity. They read about American names. They read a story called A Lion Hunt. And they read a story called A House on Mango Street. And A House on Mango Street is about a girl who had to move over and over and over, and she never really had a home. And so I thought it would be a good idea if they could design a home they would like, because that's really, in this girl's mind, what she did.
The home I designed is in the tree. I designed the tree house I imagined. The tree house is made out of Chapler wood and is found in the Colombia Amazon rainforest. It is built in the K-pop tree. This tree is around 17 meters off the ground. The dimensions of the treehouse floor is 30 by 40 feet, and the height of the walls are 12 feet. The location of the treehouse is in the Colombia Amazon rainforest. It is in the understory layer in the Amazon forest. The Colombia Amazon rainforest can be up to 91 degrees Fahrenheit. At night is 71 degrees Fahrenheit. The forest gets lots of rain, around 400 inches of rain each year. One special feature is that the roof has a pipe with a lid, and that the lid has very small holes to collect rainwater to drain, clean, and wash clothes. There is a garden where rainwater can be collected. There is also a rope to climb into the garden to get the plants that are ready to be harvested. The garden on top of the roof has corn, tomato, chili peppers, and Brussels sprouts. To protect the garden, I added crushed chili peppers from the Colombia rainforest to prevent animals from eating them. With a bed to sleep into. It is also made out of animal fur of what I hunted in the Colombia rainforest. But that there is a Shiba Inu inside the treehouse with a bathtub to clean and clothes.
Located in central Spain. I made a two-story house made out of marble for the walls. I used normal stained glass. I have a trampoline and a yoga mat in my gym. I have a pool in my backyard, and I have a jellyfish and a tank in the living room. I have a flat roof that I made. Which is supposed to be made out of black stained glass, but I didn't.
My house is made out of blue gum and live oak wood. The house I designed is my dream house. The location of my house is at the coastal zone of South Carolina. The dangers of South Carolina is weather, hurricanes, and floods. The material, by the way, the ceilings and floors are made out of blue gum, and the roof and walls and doors are made out of live oak wood. The outside of my house is made from brick, manufactured by Walmart Brick Company. One special feature in my house is a saltwater fish tank containing lionfish, yellow tank, and a blue spotted ribbon tail ray. The location of my fish tank is in a wall between the gym and the kitchen. It's 2.5 meters wide and 5 feet tall. The dimensions of my house are 11 meters long, 13 meters wide, and 7 meters tall. I'd like to live here because I'll feel comfortable in the house, and the weather would be outside would be nice.
This group, their big idea was, what makes an idea powerful? They read a story about hitching a ride, an inventor who made critter cams. They also read LAFF, a young man who invented a time machine. And they also read a story called Kids Are Inventors Too. And in that story, the kids invented earmuffs. Another kid helped a child on his baseball team and made a prosthetic catch and release. The boy had no arm from here and he wanted to play baseball. So a fellow team member made something that he could play on the team. And also, a young inventor made a washer-dryer all-in-one. So I asked them to investigate an inventor.
Her name is Grace Otis. Alicia Grace Otis invented the elevator in 1852 in Yonkers, New York. He needed to lift heavy equipment and machines to the upper floor of the sawmill. At the New York Crystal Palace, he demonstrated his invention and made it safe by installing a safety brake so the elevator would never crash. Grace Otis was born in August 3, 1811, and he died in April 8, 1861. He was the youngest of 6 children born in Halifax, Vermont. When he was 20, he moved to Troy, New York because of his job as a carpenter and a wagon driver. In 1838 to 1845, he lived in Brattleboro, Vermont. There he built a grist mill and a sawmill. When he was 34, he moved to Albany, New York. There he worked as a master mechanic in a lead making factory. While he was there, he invented an automatic turner that he made the lead goes much faster. He invented a railroad safety brake that could be controlled by the engineer. His sons Charles and Norton took over his company when he died. There is an Otis elevator in Paris, Eiffel Tower, the Washington Monument in 1890, and the Otis elevator installed. In 1913, he had the Otis elevator 60 stories in New York City installed in it.
The invention I made is a Band-Aid, and the inventor's name is Earl Dixon, and he invented Band-Aids at Johnson & Johnson, and this invention came because his wife kept on cutting herself while she was in the kitchen, and so he decided to make Band-Aids out of tape, like this, and then he put gauze in the middle, and then he would cut these strips to put it on her, and because of this invention, he became the vice president at the company, and his company made $30 million. And I made a typewriter, as you can see. And this is a printing press, which is, I can't put the file. If you can take the letters and put it on a
Like a strip.
and take it all apart and then type it on the typewriter and it will show up on the paper. So yeah, read about in 1879, Christopher Sholes was a newspaper publisher. And
He was apprenticed out. Apprentice means he went out as a young child to learn how to print. Newspapers were printed. Newspapers were printed by taking a letter out of a little box like this and putting it on a strip. So if I wanted to spell Jennifer, I would have to go J-E and lay him down, and then the paper would come down and print on it. And it took a long, long, long time. So he tried to make it faster. So that Jennifer, who needs 2 N's, you wouldn't have to go N-N, and then her last name has an N in it, and you're using up all your letters. Q-W-E-R-T-Y. Q-W-E-R-T-Y. He's the one who placed the letters in this fashion. It wasn't alphabetized, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K. He didn't do it that way.
wait, why?
Why? Can you answer that why? Why?
Because he wanted to slow fast typers down.
This was much faster than pulling these letters out. Okay, it was much faster to hit this and have a J print. But he put this because ASDF, this is where your hand's supposed to be. And then this is where your hand's supposed to be on this typewriter. Actually, it's over here. So the most used letters are where you lay your fingers, if you ever took a typing class. What did he do the rest of his life? Did he make any improvements on this, or was he just done?
Christopher spent the rest of his life making improvements.
So he wasn't done. He kept trying to improve his invention. Jennifer talked about familiar things from her culture. Her foods are dragon fruit, quesadilla, tacos, and spaghetti. She made this as a celebration in Mexico. It's called Day of the Dead. You guys are familiar with that? Americans are very close to the same date when we say Halloween. It's in October, and during this celebration, they see cousins, relatives, skulls, and a parade. So those are things that happen that she sees during that time, and they eat spaghetti. She made this. Another celebration in Mexico is I'm not going to be able to say it right, the Spanish word for 15th birthday is? Okay, so she designed a dress that a girl might wear for this party, and it's special. The girls get to wear a beautiful dress, families come together, and many people eat a big cake, spaghetti, and other food. What makes her, let's go here, songs. Another thing in her culture are songs that are in Spanish. Musicians are very loud, and they play a trumpet. And they celebrate and use these musicians at this 15th birthday party. One thing I wanted the students to talk about is what makes home special to me. Because a lot of these people in the stories had to move. And so what makes a home a home? And what she said was home is special because of her mom, her dogs, and her bed. And without her family, it wouldn't seem like home. This is Mr. Javier. I'm so sad Javier's not here because his big celebration was the use of the piñata. And he worked really hard to make the piñata. He said the piñata is at many, many, many celebrations. Birthdays, Day of the Dead. Piñata is Christmas, Children's Day, and inside they put different things. Candy, sometimes money, he said. Sometimes fruit. He mentioned also sometimes there's fruit inside the piñata. Children's Day is a celebration in Mexico, and they get toys and money. Foods that are familiar to him, the escuet is a Mexican dessert. What's it called?
What?
With corn, mayonnaise, chili peppers, lemon, and cheese. What is it called? Okay, so that's a familiar food to him. And songs, familiar sounds are band music and mariachi. They play in restaurants, they play at birthday parties. The instruments they use are the trumpet, guitar, and the drums. Those are things that are familiar to Javier. And we have another person who is going to tell you about familiar things in Brazil.
This word is difficult of Brazil and are very famous in Brazil. This is like a cupcake. And this is bread with cheese. This food is John Paris, tradition Brazilian Jones. This is typical of the Nordeste region. The clothing for men is metal jacket, shirt. For women, the colorful jacket dress is ornamented with many rainbow flowers and beautiful straw hats. The candies. This candies is tradition in Brazil and it sells everywhere in Brazil. It is a paper candy. Celebrations. Carnival is celebrations as Wednesday before Easter. This float is in here parade. It's car past parade. Let's see. The songs. This singer is one of the most famous singers in Brazil, and all Brazilians really like him. He made a lot of songs for Brazil. What defines my home in America is all the toys that I had on Brazil are now here. I speak Portuguese in my home, and my mom makes a food from Brazil.
So that's how he feels at home in America, speaking Portuguese with his family and eating food from Brazil. And Mr. Bruno was kind enough to give our class one of these, so I've had Brazilian candy. And this, I thought it was more like a cupcake. It's kind of like a little cake ball. Have you guys ever had a little cake ball? Oh, delightful. His mother made those and sent them in, and so I got to have a traditional Brazilian birthday dessert type deal. It was delicious.
First, I wrote about foods, and the food that I chose is Malay, and then it's made with chili, and then I did some celebration, and then it is special to me because my mom makes me really good. Secondly, I worry about what defines home and why my home is special to me because it's safe there. And can I even watch TV like it does in to feel like home? And thirdly, I what about fun sounds? Sunlight shows is very and musicians from Mexico or ages. Instruments that you use is a guitar, you listen to in special celebrations. Lastly, what about the wedding celebration? So the celebration I chose is three kings. We celebrated on January 6th. And we always go to church. And we used to eat bread and then inside is the baby Jesus doll. And I made this person that is just like me for all these things.
What do you eat?
The bread that has a baby Jesus doll.
Okay, do you get gifts on that day?
Extra gifts.
Extra gifts on that day. So it's a special celebration, right? Look at the pictures. And we looked at a lot of different stores, and you could tell what things were because of the pictures that were on them. These guys became extremely creative to identify some labels. So let's go. Come up here. Everybody in this group, come up. Stand behind it. Stand behind it. Stand behind it. Okay. Okay, and these guys designed a label. They brought in a container. Now, whose is this? Raise your hand. Okay, so we have an illustration because it could be anything. We are used to the containers. This, whose is this?
Mine.
This, whose is this?
Mine.
This?
Mine.
Okay. And this?
Mine.
Oh, this.
Mine.
And this one. Okay. Very interesting. What is this?
Mine.
Raise your hand, ma'am. There she is. This?
Mine.
This will throw you for a loop. You're not gonna guess this one.
Yogurt.
Whose is this? Okay. So when you come up, you can take a look at those labels and try to determine, because some of them you may know and some of them you may have to really think. Okay, tell me your names as you go across.
Rachel. Alondra. Crystal. Ellen. Angel. Alice. Diana. Brandon.
That's a group of kids, okay? Nice artists and very thinking, because they could not use words. Nice job, guys. These guys are not with me every day, and what they've produced in the short amount of time they've been with me is kind of astounding. So this is in my culture. Do you want to go, Livni? Okay, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to interview these children. Okay, this is, tell me your name.
Livni.
Livni, can you tell me about your familiar foods in your country?
Some familiar foods are enchiladas.
And she made them so you can see. And can you tell me about clothing?
This is the Mexican girls' clothes that they wear. for like dances and stuff like that. Some familiar sounds in Mexico are Spanish and some are English because some people come and visit. And then familiar celebrations are Quince de Mayo, Dia de los Muertos, and birthdays. What defines my home is Mexico, clothes, blankets, and my family, and some photos.
Pictures. Nice job. Poor Mr. Daniel, he was absent a couple days, so Daniel,
Three Kings Day starts in January 6th. It's like Christmas, but it's like if you were gonna have Christmas again. I like that day because many people come over and we get to eat stuff. And some things that we are bread, and we also drink coffee.
and so your illustration here is the Three Kings Day. So he's got one king down and he's...
Some Mexican music,
And what instrument do you hear a lot?
trumpets and maracas.
Good. Trumpets and maracas. The celebration that you've got here is what?
New Year's party.
A New Year's party. Fireworks going off in the sky there, you can see it, and spicy foods. Can you tell me something about this girl? I cannot hear you now. Again.
The girl's wearing a long dress I made.
And is this for the New Year celebration or a different celebration? Okay, New Year celebration. And are there foods that you like?
I like spicy rice.
Spicy rice? And it's made by her father. Nicely done. This Sophia, her culture is Vietnamese. So this was very interesting because we listened to Vietnamese music, looked at the instruments that they use. The sound is, we'll have to Google it, I'll let you guys hear it. She made a replica of an instrument which has a lot of wires and things coming out, kind of like, what would you think it sounds like? How would you explain that sound? It's almost like a piano that you just take and you would pluck the strings, kind of like that. Okay, this is a food, and what is this? A green waffle. Is a familiar food. I'm not sure the ingredients in it. And of course, we see this, but this is used to eat by a lot of Vietnamese people. And what is that? Chopsticks. I'm sorry? Okay. This is traditional dress. This is from her mother. So this is a traditional dress from Vietnam. Some familiar foods. Do you want to tell us about any familiar foods besides your green waffle? Rice and noodles, bean sprouts. Familiar sounds in her culture are the Vietnamese instruments. She made one of these. And a familiar celebration is Luna New Year. When is that? Do you know when that is?
I'm hoping it was in December, but in 2019, it could be February or
Okay, so Luna means moon. So this New Year is depending on the moon, so it's going to change. And that's the Vietnamese New Year celebration. Rice and noodles are familiar foods. And what makes her house a home are all the pictures of her family.
I'm from Vietnam. My familiar foods are rice, rice flour crepes, spring rolls, jackfruit, diarrhea, egg rolls, dragon fruit.
Have you guys heard of all those? I've not heard of some of those before.
My Holes is snun. Familiar sounds and I have hand drums there. Ken, Neo, Red, Gecko, Travel, 6-string zither, Ken, 2-chord guitar, bamboo flute, water buffalo horn, damn day. And my familiar celebrations are birthdays, New Year's, and Christmas. And with the family homes, my family.
Family and
Xbox.
Xbox. Okay, show us what you've made here. Show that. This is a Vietnamese instrument called a,
6-string zither.
it's a zither. And it's got something like this and something like that. And I think there's wires between them and you pluck them again. And this is a, what is it?
It's they use it when they go pick up rice and stuff, like from their garden and stuff. And they use the hat for blocking the sun to get in their eyes.